Oh yeah. So it's morning now in Jamaica. So good morning, everyone. Um, Welcome back to the Verandah Conversations. This a little bit too much. My name is Antonia Valier, and if you see me keep looking like back and forth, that might be distracting, right? So because I'm also on YouTube while I'm on Facebook. Yeah, I'm using two different devices. Yeah. So, welcome back to the Verandah Conversations. And I've been missing in action for a while. And December, I decided to take December off because I just needed a moment. I needed a time and to spend time with my family. And yeah. And then, so I've been a while. I've taken a while to get back in January because, I had some, graduation stuff that I was thinking that maybe. Yeah, because I did a course with VTDI Vocational Training Development Institute. They have been in the news lately. We'll discuss that and more. And I'd planned to come back last week, but then I got the stomach flu. Yeah. And so I wasn't feeling very well. And then, yeah, that happened. Anyway, so welcome back, everyone. As I say, I'm Anthony Valier. I'm from Jamaica. I'm a poet. I'm an author. And this is the Verandah Conversations. I'm on my veranda and I discuss various issues. Maybe something that I see, something that I feel, probably maybe personal, maybe what I read. And I want to say this what the show is about, what I'm about. I think that's important. I think I've showed what I'm about on my wall. And, if people come on my Facebook page, I think they can tell much about me and about my personality because I'm not hiding it, I'm not faking it or whatever. But I recently posted something and I posted a question and someone responded. And I was asking about why are condoms free and not, pads, which is sanitary pads. And the person was having a discussion with me, but they said something that um was very interesting. And I just think I should make it very clear what I'm about. I think I've showed that on my page, but when I ask questions sometimes, it's not that I have a sinister agenda. I know people have an agenda why they do certain things. That's not my motive. Like, I generally ask questions to be educated. And I also ask questions to bring awareness. I also ask questions to really start a discussion to get people, opinions and, to learn from it. And, because it's good. We are in a world of learning and social media has opened up and, it has bridged certain barriers that we have. And, I'm not someone who I used to be. Like, I used to hold on to everything that I've learned and be hard on it and think, that was facts. But as you get older and you start to experience different people and you listen to people different experiences and you get to, yeah, maturity, they say, maturity, it deals with experience. And so as time goes by, you learn a lot. And so I'm not so much like hard and everything because I learn a lot from people. And there are certain things that I've gone through. And when I share it with people, they'll be like, wow, I didn't know you go through that. Or I, didn't know that that really exists or people, experience that. And so I recently asked a question and I was saying that, because there was a time in Jamaica, I don't know if they still do it, but I know organization overall do this, give away condoms, right? But I remember quite vividly when I was in high school, it was a thing that they were saying that they were going to give out condoms in school. And there's also a discussion about giving out condoms in prison. We'll discuss that more. And I was saying it's interesting because I read an article, and this is why the question came about now. So I read an article where this lady, she was saying that you know, she never thought that she will reach a level where she could not afford to buy sanitary pads. Yes. And she was a working woman and she got divorced. Basically, that's what it was. She got divorced, and divorce is messy. And by the time she got divorced, and she found herself in a position where one day she just didn't have any sanitary pad, and she was like, "Oh, I can't even buy one." And so she ended up, write an article. Big up Dub Reggae and Elizabeth Roberts. Big up Mrs. Roberts. Thank you very much again, Mrs. Roberts, and big up yourself. Continue to pray for our family. I will continue to pray for you as well. Sorry for cutting what I was saying, but until I see people come on, I will, heal them up. Yeah. So she got divorced, right? And she found herself in the long run, was not able to afford sanitary pads. Mrs. Roberts, do you want to be in the video? Because I don't know if you did you wrongly clicked on it or you really want to be. Just tell me if you want to be in, you want to be on. Right, just tell me, just comment that you want to be on. Because I don't want to just bring you on without your permission. Right? So she couldn't afford it. And as I was reading the article, right, it it strung on me and I was like, to think about it, I've never heard, I don't know if it has ever, but I don't know if our government ever one day said, oh, okay, oh, we are going to give away sanitary pads in school. Like, I don't think that has ever been like one of those things. But I've heard about the condoms, and I when I read the article, I went to my mom and I was like, as I was telling her the story, right? And she said, you have a point. It's very interesting because, and so she was telling me of an incident of another church sister, something that personal happened now, where she said that, one day she was home and the church sister came into her mind and the Holy Spirit tell her that, she should carry a sanitary pad. And when she went down to this lady's house, right? The lady is a teacher and she was bathing, she was, at the time, and my mom said she went in and the lady came out and when she said, I carry this for you. And the lady respond was just, she was just breaking down in tears. My mom was like, why are you crying? And the lady was like, I didn't have any. And I was wondering what I was going to do next. And as my mom shared this story with me, I said to myself, it's very interesting that we have like pad drives in Jamaica. And I've read articles beyond Jamaica as well, where it speaks about several countries where it speak about that. And so I brought the topic. I don't know if I constructed the question very well, I'm going to be honest, but I think most people got what I was saying. So this young man, he responded and he was like, yo, you come with your feminist thing. And I was like, this has nothing to do with feminism. Like, I was like, my question had nothing to do with that. My question was more in women's health. And it was more like something that I was genuinely curious about because I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't know if that is something. And then I also had an experience when I was at school and, I was at university and my classmate, she came up to me and she's like, do you have any pad? And I normally do care, but I didn't care that day. And I was like, no. And then another female, gave it to her. And so all of these things start to bring back to me. And I was like, that is something very interesting. That's, I get it. And it wasn't surprising that it was a man who answered. I get it. Right? Like he just couldn't get what I was getting at. And I know And I look on it both ways as well. This is why sometimes people, questions will come up or topics will come up and people shy away because it's gendered. Like a man sometimes will not respond to certain question that is geared towards women because he doesn't want to be labeled. Because it's not always that case that he is misogynist or he's following all this patriarch. And that was the case with me. My question had nothing to do with feminism, but here this guy was like calling me out pretty much like, oh, you're near fem, like you can't get it, like condoms, they're going to stop STDs and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I know the purpose of it, but condoms, sex overall is a choice. And I did some extensive research into this in terms of women's health and periods and pads, and I found that for example pads in several countries they are heavily taxed, like even like 50%. And so I started thinking like, why is something that is natural to a woman's body is so heavily taxed? And that was my genuine question. It had nothing to do with like like I was thinking, oh, men are fighting against women or whatever. Like, oh my gosh, like sometimes I see comments like that and I'm like, that poor guy, he genuinely was asking a question. He wasn't thinking, oh, what if this girl, she was genuinely saying, like everybody think that like every time you respond or say something it's geared towards some political ideology, and that's not always the case. Like the question that I posted was genuinely in women's health and had nothing to do with patriarch or feminism or whatever. It was a genuine question, and I thought I should address it today. Now I won't talk only about that, but I thought that I should address that question and also address the idea that like because I don't normally take an offense to people question or people comments. Like I don't really care about what people comment or what they think. But at the same time, I felt like my question was somewhat ignored, and the person went straight ahead to call me like a feminist or whatever. Not that I'm against that or anything, but I mean that's not my agenda. Like I don't post questions because they're feminists or whatever. I don't even identify really as a feminist, to be honest. I'm just gonna be honest with people. Like people refer me that way, but I think that human beings, we are not monolithic. We are not one way. We don't think one way. I think that, I've read feminism and the basics of it. I agree with it, but I'm also someone who is a humanist. I can see both sides. Like I'm not, it's not one of my, what would I call it, my cause. So it's not a cause of mine. It's not like, oh, every time I post, it's gonna be about feminism or whatever. No, that's not one of my cause. My cause, I have many causes, but you can even get at that from my own poems, my things that I post on my page and stuff like that. My cause is like on human issues, but also I can see a woman's issue, I can see a man's issue, I can see a child's issue, because to me, by the end of the day, these are all issues and people are hurting on different levels. And I think that's one of the thing is that we don't discuss things openly. And sometimes people feel like they don't have the right to sometimes comment on certain things. Sometimes you don't, but overall, I think that people feel numb to comment because there are times when someone will post something and I don't bother comment because it's not that I'm fearful, but it's just like, oh my gosh, you're gonna get the backlash because you don't agree with the majority, or because the person who posted the comment they are on some agenda. Like the way that they posted it, it's obvious that they're getting a certain reaction. That's the reaction that they want, and then you read it and you'll be like, ha, that's not what I think. And that's what my space is about. My space is about like, hey, come on, like if you have an opinion, like post it, like comment. Like I'm not afraid. Like I'm here to learn from people, and everybody around the world, they have different experiences. And so my that post that I made was an actual thing, and for me, I'm gonna share something that's personal, but I have like serious like cramps, period cramps, and they can have me for days. I drink like pomegranate. It works for me. I don't know if it works for other people, but it works for me. And pine. I eat a lot of pine. I love pine. It's one of my favorite fruit, and I find that like especially like before I'm going to see it, like I eat pine and stuff like that, and it helps. And also pomegranate, the juice, I drink it, and it also helps me. I don't know. Maybe there's something in it. I don't know, but it helps me. But if I don't drink or eat any of that, it's some serious pain. And when I tell you that, I mean, have you ever gotten a toothache? I've gotten a toothache, and I can tell you that it's worse than a toothache. And nothing is worse than a toothache. Trust me, they compare a toothache to a pregnancy. That's how serious it is. And so I read articles where it showed that, girls miss days from school because of this, because it's just a biological thing. And I find it very interesting that something that as biological and natural, something like pad that you need, it is so expensive. And the person went further to say, well, why you don't get a cheap one? And that's how I know that this person don't fully understand what's going on, because you were saying I need to get a cheap one when that can also cause another health issue, because it's not about cheapness. It's there's a lot of complications to it. Women who are listening to be like, yeah, we know what you're talking about. You can't use cheap material or stuff because it's a sensitive area. There's some pads that just don't work well with you. You can get infection years to come. So it has to be top quality, and you have to, for me personally, like I shave a lot because I have hairy skin, and so I have to be careful what I wear, and use on my skin and stuff like that. So that's even another aspect to it. Like these are things that are not discussed where, especially with women's health, it's, I don't know, like it's something that's ignored. It's not even something that's talked about. Even me talking about this now, right now, like even when I go to the supermarket, for example, and my mom would be like, yo, you're not buying, your pads. And because my brother is there, it's not like we grew up weird or anything like that, but I just felt weird in the moment. And he's looking at me like, I don't care. And, I take it up. But at first I felt weird, and my neighbor would make fun of it as well, because my mom would make this big effort. She's like, oh, there's that pad. And she create excitement over it. And she's like, oh, you're not buying that one. That one is good. And I'm like, yo, my brother is standing there, like, and then so I start to look back on these things, and I'm like, why are we embarrassed about something that is natural? Why is it can't be discussed openly? Like, why is it something that is to be hidden? There's even another concept. Is like, as you know, in some cultures, when a woman is on her period, she can't stay in the house. She has to go to another house because they think it's unclean, which is so funny because period in itself is cleansing. The act of it is it's cleansing, so there's nothing unclean about it, and nothing that is natural is unclean if you think about it. And so the whole concept of even how we as humans treat this issue, I can just imagine God looking down, saying, boy, humans, we are something else, because we twist and turn everything. And so, condoms to me is it's to use condoms. It's your choice, and sex is your choice, with the exception of those people who get raped and molested, obviously, But and I'm not also necessarily advocating that pads be free. I'm not saying government should be giving out pads free. It was the concept that why is condoms free, which is a choice. And also, I've never personally heard anybody who say they can't afford condoms, no matter how poor they are. Just think about it. I've never once heard someone say, oh, I can't afford condoms. You know, it's like one of those things, no matter how, poor you are, it's to me, it's still affordable if you want to. And, but think about a pad, like to go in a store and buy even one pad. Like I used to, before I could buy, like a big package, I used to, buy one. Like that's all I could afford. So I know very well the experience of buying just one, and and I know a lot of women can relate, and even men. Like if men, because you have men out there who they are very much aware of this issue. They they study. I've seen men comment and be like, hey, my wife had her period, and I went and bathed her, and I went and washed her panties and stuff like that. And other men were like, oh, like you did that, and like and I was like, oh, like that's my type of man. Like for you to like be strong in your masculinity like that, like come on, like there's times when you're gonna need help. We're human beings, and just to sway a little bit from what I'm saying to a broader topic, that's a thing I think is affecting marriage. Like I'm not married, but my parents were married. They're now divorced. And overall, when you look at marriage, for example, you realize that there is a lot of taboo, or there's a lot of things that people say I won't do because of culture, you know, culture, especially in Jamaican culture. In Jamaican culture, we, um, you know, like men are not supposed to do certain things, women are not supposed to do certain things, and then when you start to break it down and you start to realize certain things, you might realize the ridiculousness of it. Like if you're in your home, just put it this way, and you end up have to wash your wife's panty. Like nobody has to know, really. It's not like you have to go out there telling people that you did that. She don't have to tell nobody that you did that, and you know why you did that in your marriage. And so I find this very interesting that topics like these, they're ignored. One, two, when they're discussed, it's not always constructive criticism. There's this immense backlash because the question in itself is gendered, and sometimes people assume that the person who posted it is they have some ulterior motive or they have some agenda, and that wasn't my case. I genuinely posted the question because it was like one of those ding ding, those things that went off. Like I read the article, and then I start look back, and then I start to be like, interesting. Like I've never seen that in Jamaica. I've never seen like we have like a pad drive in school where because it's just one of those taboo topics. Like nobody discussed that. Like, and I was thinking about it. I was like, can you just imagine one day you're in high school and your principal one day said, "Oh, ladies, we're line up, we're giving away pads." Like I just could imagine like all us ladies looking around, the boys be like, huh? Like it would just be a weird thing. But then on the other hand, condoms was given away in school. We all giggle and made fun of it, but it wasn't this weird thing because I mean it, I want to say it don't have any gender. Like it's not gender. Like condom itself not gendered, but it just didn't carry the same connotations to it. And I think the guys were very excited, because it's condom, it's lead to it's the connotation is to sex, which in itself is somewhat evil gendered when you start to go deeper. Like I don't want to go too deep with that, but in itself it is gendered more to male. So I can also understand this guy, commenting and saying, "Oh, you with your feminist stuff," because anytime topics that are gendered, it's always seem like against the other gender. And I think we need to come out of that mind frame that questions are not always something against. It's not always a case of putting shame on the other gender. You can still discuss men issue because men are themselves are also suffering with a lot of things. I do believe that, for example, this thing about paternity fraud. It was amazing when that topic came up, paternity fraud, and the amount of women who were commenting, and they were bashing men in the comment section, like, I don't know why you guys are whatever. But I was like, I'm a woman, I don't see what the big deal is. Like I'm with it 100%. Like of course introduce paternity into Jamaica. Like I've actually had the thought before it came up. Like I've actually I don't know if I've mentioned it on this show. I don't know if I've ever did it, but I have also had the thought. I was because I think about these things sometimes, because sometimes you read an article and you be like, huh, why is it the government don't do something like that? Like I would just randomly say that to my mom or my brother. I was like, oh, why the government don't have like, everybody do all those opportunity tests from birth, isn't it? So you get rid of all these confusions. Everybody know who daddy is and who mommy is. And we just, it save it to me, it save in the long run. To me, it's gonna save lives. I do believe so. It's gonna save lives. It's also it's gonna unfortunately humans, we don't have any control over ourselves. We always scream that we want freedom, and really and truly, we don't know what freedom is, and we don't know how to appreciate freedom, unfortunately. So laws, unfortunately, have to be made to regulate our behavior. And so it's interesting that I see a lot of backlash to that law. I mean, it's not law yet, but that discussion rather. And so, this discussion, it's something I think you should have, with your children as well, because I, I, I I'm not necessarily saying that people need to go in the public, like go on the street, if they have to. But I mean, I don't see what's the shame about this topic. And as I say, it's very interesting. Oh, it is heavily taxed pads when you think about it. And as a result, that a lot of girls don't have pads. Even in Jamaica here, we have pad drive. People donate pads all the time. I always see come on the phone, donate pads and stuff like you. It's like one of those underground topics that people don't discuss. Like it's this issue, it's there, but no one ever really like brings it up. So you probably, if you do like a research or a statistics, you find how many girls miss days in school due to that issue. And you might see them probably the other day, and you ask them, why did you miss school? Because I've missed school because of that. And people ask me, and I would just say, oh, I wasn't well. And if they probe me too much, like, oh, so I was, well, you had the flu, or no, especially if it's a guy, you'd be like, I'll be kind of reserved to tell him, oh, I was on a period or whatever. I've been open now because I think the landscape is changing. Like, because guys have actually asked me questions in regards to it. I'm like, whoa, that's very interesting. Boys are now asking questions about that. Like, what's going on? So, and I've told guys, I'm like, oh, I had my period today or whatever. And they'd be like, oh, I hope you're okay. Like, they genuinely care. And I'm like, wow, this is very interesting. Normally, I would be so afraid to tell somebody that I had my period today, especially a guy. And now that I've told a guy, and to see that he's genuinely, cares and, want to know if I'm really okay. They're even sometimes suggesting, like, oh, my mom told me that you must drink this. And I'm like, whoa, they're even giving me advice. And I'm like, whoa, my generation is changing. Like I mean, we get a lot of slack for our generation, that we're like the worst generation ever. We're vipers, we're lazy, we're entitled. I do believe some of those things are true, but there's other positive sides. And it's very interesting that I'm meeting all these young men who they're so strong in their masculinity, and they are so aware of women now in a different way, that I could never, like, in a million years, believe that men would actually have, men like to boast, especially in Jamaica, oh, we love women. And I said to myself, if you really love women, as complex and complicated as women is, there's some basic things about women that if you ask men, they really don't know, and this is one of them. Like, period shouldn't be like one of those shame things. It should be like a thing that men just naturally know. Oh, she has her period every month, and this is what happened. And it just be one of those things that is just so normal. It's not a big deal to you, and you don't necessarily be the one to go and buy her pads, but probably even the brand that she likes and how it looks. It's very interesting. Millions of men across the world, they are so blank. And then women, on the other hand, because we have been sheltered and cultured in such a way that it's something to be also ashamed of, so you keep it to yourself, and it's not something that you discuss. So, even if you're in pain, you go on your day like you're not in pain, but you're in pain, and you don't actually say anything about it. And oh, let me author. So okay, let me see this. I just saw a comment. Calbert, geez, why is this thing not being steady? I don't know. Let me slow down. Let me see what's going on. I don't know. It's. What am I doing wrong? This is so weird. This thing is not staying. Like I want to read Calbert's. I'm almost there. Let me not read this. Let me slow down. All right. So Calbert Hutchinson, he said, one of the best antidotes to the problem of gender inequalities, especially issues that affects females, is the inclusion of males in the female conversation. That is so true. Like when men get involved in the conversation, like that's when light is shine. Like when men start to research, when men start to comment. But it's so hard sometimes to get men involved, especially in Jamaica here. And he said, for far too long, the feminist movement has been exclusive to just females, lack of diversity in the conversation. So true. You're basically saying what I'm saying. But, it's still kind of difficult to get men in the conversation because that right there is a problem. Like, one, men don't want to be considered a feminist. That's one. Two, feminism now, I don't know if this is the intentions of who started it, but as most things are, when they start out good and their basic, like their basic goal, there's normally some set of people who always take it to the extreme. I always find that, in every, literally, religion is the same thing, politics is the same thing, everything, it's the same thing. There's always some extremists. So no, feminism, no. If you have been following the conversation and reading articles, it has become this movement where it's almost like against men, and a variety of people have joined in the movement and they have their own agenda, and as a result, men sometimes feel attacked, and so they're pushing back. And naturally, if you feel like your gender is being attacked, you're going to push back. And so I think it's like it has become more, when it started first, in my opinion, people naturally push back. But the basics of it, what it was that women wanted to be seen as equal. They wanted equal pay. That was, like, if we're doing the same work, men and women, we should get the same pay and no big deal. That was basically like the basics of it, right? Over a period of time, you go, especially on, even sometimes on the black pages, because I follow a lot of African pages and African American pages and black pages overall, and I always roll my eyes because they always post something that to me always causing some division. Like I obviously know that there is some negative reaction. I think it's too dark. I'm turning on the lights so you guys can see me better. So I've been like, okay, like this is so draining. Like I don't even bother comment on some of these pages because they're creating more division than there is. So they'll put this post, and sometimes it's about mixed children, or oh, because this child is so dark skinned, y'all won't like this page, or you won't this or whatever. Or they'll put like y'all something about black men not liking black women, and before you know it, everybody's going to comment because, and then you see all this fighting in the comment section, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, you guys are so annoying. And so it's the same thing with all these issues. Like there is like a division. Like I feel it so strongly, like men against women, right? And I know that people say gender is a social construct, so there's another whole topic of different genders. But I'm just saying in general, like every every topic, the minute you post it, even without any agenda, like negative agenda, the minute you post it, you can guarantee that people, whether if a woman posts it and then men see it, they're gonna take, strongly and feel like it's attack on them, when really sometimes the issue is as basic as it is. So my question that I'm discussing now is as basic as women's health. It has nothing to do with feminism or whatever. Like, that wasn't my intention. It was basic women's health. It's something that I never even take note of myself until I read the article. And then I start to have flashbacks and realize that it's an actual issue. It's something that affects me personally. But as I say, you go on your busy day and it's not something that you discuss. Generally, when it happens to me, it's normal my mother who knows. Like, the minute she knows, like, I get up, every day at a certain time, and my personality and whatever. And so the minute she see me lay down in bed, she be like, "You're on a period." She knows naturally, like, why are you laying down? Because I get up very early. And then and then I normally cocoon like a baby. So she's like, "Yeah, something's wrong with you. And it's not normal illness. Like, it's not like you have the flu or something like that. You are on your period. So I'm expecting you to stay in bed and, whatever. That's it." So, it was just very interesting to see this young man. And I said it to him also, not in a defensive way, that he obviously does not understand the health issues behind this to understand my question was posted, and it has been ignored for so many years. It's one of those things that I put on the back burner. It's something that people go on their busy lives. And even for footballers, female footballers, I was reading also that for them not to get period, they actually take, I don't know if it's a pill or something, but and I'm looking at, I'm like, that's very dangerous actually, because there's a reason for it. And the point that you are taking pill not to get it, like they might get it all the next 5 years. That's so very dangerous to me, right? And so yeah, I mean, I could say much more, but that's just the gist of that. I'm not gonna go too deep in it. You kind of get the gist of what I'm saying about that issue, and you can discuss it with your family, and and do your own research. And as Calbert is saying, I wish more men would, I guess it's a lot to ask of men too. But I mean, if you say you're interested in a woman and you're interested in relationship and marriage, because that actually can break down a marriage. Not saying you don't understand, but I mean, like, overall, that's something that actually break down marriage, where men and women, because we're so at war with each other, and because of how we're cultured, we bring all of that into marriage. And as a result, men don't understand women and women don't understand men. And then, they're both shut down, because you're not taking the time to understand what a man is going through. And then on top of it, like, sometimes probably he's not telling you what's going on with him. The woman can be the same. She has her own woman issues and she just think, oh, it's a woman issue, so I'll discuss it with my girlfriends. When truly you should also be discussing it with your husband or your spouse, because he's the one who you live with, he's the one you have to go through things with. And if he can make things easier for you and make things lighter, and if we can have open discussion on things that we think are taboo but is actually natural, it's actually human qualities, we could get along better. So I think that's an interesting thing. Sometimes, and I see it all the time. You post something, people post things, and instead of people really taking the time out and saying, I wonder what this post is about, people immediately attack it because they think it's an attack on their gender. And the reality is that is not always something that is attack on a gender. It's really, that's just the issue. And I also think broader than that is that we don't put pressure on our government to protect us as humans, in the sense that this is an issue. Why are we not lobbying to our government, men and women, to really tackle issues that trouble men and women? For example, you always hear about prostate cancer. It troubles men a lot. Like, I mean, yes, they have discussions around it, but I don't know what are we lobbying to our government health wise. Obviously, we're in COVID-19 now, which is so weird. We're in COVID-19, and that's all people talk about. And the minute you tell somebody that you're ill, they assume that you have COVID-19, as if they don't think you have asthma. They don't think, I recently was cooking, and obviously, every time I cook, and the sneezing, the seasoning, it's a natural reaction. So I was coughing. Thank God everybody in my house have sense. So they were like, "Oh my gosh, you had COVID." They were like, "Oh, you're cooking, so you sneezed." Sometimes you get up, like you wake up, and probably there's something in your system, because sneezing is actually something good, not something bad. It's basically whatever toxins are in your body. That's all it can get out. And so there's times when I just get out of my bed and I wake up and I find myself sneezing, because maybe there's something in the atmosphere. Because in your hair, there's a lot of particles that are passing through, and there's a lot of things that are passing in the atmosphere, and it's going to affect your system, right? It's only when the sun shines that you sometimes see this part. So right now there's a lot of things that is passing me right now, but we're not seeing it. And these are scientific facts, or scientific things that you can read about. It's there. But yeah, I know everybody is kind of in this bubble right now. And so every time you tell somebody that you're ill, they immediately think COVID-19. They don't think any other illness exists. Also, I mean, someone dies, even our government is doing, they're guilty of this. Every single person who dies, it's COVID-19. I saw my government recently posted something where they said that 99%, right? You can't have flu or sinus, everything COVID. This is so true, literally. I saw where my government posted that 99% of people who died of COVID were unvaccinated. I know for a fact people who have died of COVID and they were vaccinated. Like, they didn't have COVID, right? They got vaccinated, then got COVID, then died. I know that for a fact, right? I am not sure. Like, I know someone personally, and I know people who know people for a fact, right? And I am not here to be like a conspiracy theorist or spread propaganda, because I do believe that the vaccine help. I do understand people's view of the vaccine. What I gather from people who are trained in these professions and scientists, and different scientists, is that it's because it's variant, as many it has many variants, and it's hard to study. As a result, this is why we're getting these confusing. They're not really confusing, to be honest. They're just showing that you just have to protect yourself as best as possible. And I think also there is an aspect that is missing from, people keep telling you that you must take the vaccine, but what they fail to tell you is that you should be eating food, because food is medicine. So I believe that you should be eating healthy food before you take the vaccine. And after you have taken the vaccine, you should be also eating healthy food more than ever. Because food has to work with vaccine. It's just like vitamins and pills. You always see it on it where it says, you eat food or you whatever, right? You never hear, I don't know of any pill where you just take it just like that. And food is not involved. I'm surprised that um of all, like the vaccine, like the spread of vaccine, no one is promoting food and vaccine, like healthy food and vaccine, especially, fruits, vegetables, and stuff like that. Like, I'm kind of surprised that it's not going hand in hand as something, you know, to be part of the package. And so, as I say, like, all these scientists are telling you that, everybody is different. People's body react to things differently. And so it's not necessarily confusing. It's just a matter of, it's hard to study. It doesn't have like let me put it like even though they give you specifics to look out for, they're after a while they're finding reaction to people body after certain things. So for example, like the blood clot, from the get-go, it wasn't something that was mentioned. And then after a while, then they found out that when people died and they investigated, they found that it was blood clot. That's people who have blood issues and stuff like that. They also found there was a time, if you all forget, where it's almost like it was pushing that it was only elderly people that was dying, like almost like young people weren't dying. And then when young people started dying, and people realized that young, healthy people, like who did not fit the criteria, then all of a sudden everyone came out, the same scientists, them like and the government came out and was saying, young people can also die. And so obviously, true people don't trust the government. Them always think the government know everything, and them always lying. I don't think in this case, like the COVID, like in its initial start, that they knew really about it. I think that like everybody else, we were blank, and the government has to do what it has to do to protect the majority and protect the population. That its role. And so if if we say everybody must take mandatory vaccines, that's what the government is going to push. And that's what they're going to push. They're not going to question anything, they're not going to push anything else. And so of course people are going to have their own reasoning, people are going to do their own research and whatever, and they might find things to dispute. And then come back to what I was saying before, I'm in a group where they talk about COVID-19 and stuff like that. And I find that people are always in war, like vaccinated against unvaccinated. People who even vaccinated, I've actually seen people who vaccinated are actually agreeing with people who are unvaccinated about things, and I'm like, this is very interesting. Like they're not disputing certain, we call it conspiracy theory. I always believe that conspiracy theory, there's always some truth to it, right? It's just like how people say this don't exist and then you experience it, right? And that's life. So I'm here to tell people, do whatever you think is best for you and your household. And I also believe that food, nothing beats food, good food. And in Jamaica, we are very fortunate that we still have farmers. Some of them naturally don't use, I don't know if maybe all farmers use, things, but probably you can still find some level of food that can still help us. Because right now, across the world, every food is GMO, that is genetically modified organism. They are making food in lab, and it's more dangerous than ever. And it's what's causing people weaken immune system. It is also causing people to have diseases that you'll never know that people have at certain age. And then you have diseases that are prone by probably it's in your family, or probably it's because of your race. These are things that you have to educate yourself on. No one is going to do that. Your government is not going to do that for you. You will have to do that for yourself. Also, before you take the vaccine, you will have to go to your doctor and get your own medical check, because now they are saying that people who have underlying issues, you have to be careful, right? You didn't know before, a lot of people died. Those peoples are hero because they're like the guinea pig, and that's just the reality. With every new thing, people are guinea pig, and so those people are the guinea pig that died, unfortunately. And now, now we are getting all this data, and this is what they're presenting us with. AJ Daniels, pick up yourself. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for everyone who's tuning in. And so I was just giving a little rant about that, just to tell people to be safe. And my next topic, so I'm going to talk on next topic. And this topic is about rankings in education system. And recently there was a ranking, and they said that it was more comprehensive in Jamaica. So what I'm discussing is about Jamaica. For those who are listening, I know people are listening from different countries and whatever. It may apply to your country, but I just want to make it clear which country I'm talking about. And so they did a ranking recently, and they said it's more comprehensive because it doesn't only look on academics. Now, this to me is a topic that, excuse me, let me drink. Water is good for you. That's another thing. They say you should drink water almost every morning. You can do your own research. Water does works. I've actually got no man didn't feel well and I drink water and I couldn't believe that I felt refreshed. Water does have effects. Anyway, so they said that these rankings were they deal with more than just the academics. It deal with a wide spectrum. I think this topic it does resonate with people across the world because education very expensive and education is not equal. I was fortunate to have gone to like I've been to UA, University of the West Indies, and it's considered top ranking university. It does have, maybe people don't appreciate the facilities, but a lot of universities do have certain facilities. So, I've experienced that side. And I also went to pre-university, which is it's a school on UWI campus, but it's one of them private school. No, I've never really been to a private school. I've been to like public school all my days of my life. And I've also been to Spanish Town High, which is what comes to my topic now. And so I can speak on my own personal experience. So I went to Spanish Town High, big up Spanish Town High and all my teachers. Thank you for taking the time out to educate me and my classmates. And we're here and we give thanks for our teachers. Teachers should be paid more. I do believe that they should be the highest paid in a country. That's my honest opinion. And I believe, is it New Zealand, think that took that initiative where teachers are the highest paid. And trust me, New Zealand is working out. They were actually one of the few countries that was hailed for handling COVID-19 very well because I don't want to sound feminist in my view, but it's run by a woman. So there goes. But anyways, so so I went to Spanish Town High, and Spanish Town High, unfortunately, is not. It didn't even come out good in the rankings, and no surprise there. It's a school that is labeled badly. It's what we call a ghetto school, unfortunately, and because it's in ghetto, and people like to label the students based on our behavior, and they're always surprised when they meet you. For example, like me, and you tell them that you're from Spanish Town High, and then they have this whole view and perspective of what they, of each school, and they're always surprised. I think over a period of time, people are no longer truly surprised when they meet, like, probably a child from Campion College and see them behave certain way, and they'll be like, huh? Because everybody have a view of certain schools and how them behave and certain standards and whatever. And yeah, right. So my school unfortunately get a bad rap. Um, and there's more to it. It's not just the students behaving badly. Yes, students behave badly, but there's more to it. And this is something I think that it's not heavily discussed. One, two, people don't ask us our opinions. People actually go to the school, like the government, do like the government and stuff. Like they make laws, and then everybody comment like as if they know and they don't know. It's those who go to the school know. And the school is not equal on no level, literally. And so it's very interesting how, no matter how comprehensive they think that they can do some of these ranking, to me, it's still not sufficient. You know why? I'm going to tell you why. First of all, most of these students who come to, these schools, there's a 99% chance that there's something that's wrong with their homes. I'm not saying that every child who come to the school, them don't have good parents. That's not what I'm saying. Or they don't come from good homes, or all of them come from bad environment. But majority of us, we have issues. We are like single parent. Um, some of them have terrible environment. They're gunshot every day. Them do have terrible parents. That's the reality. They don't have any role model in their community. Them don't have a clean looking community. Some people, they're structured, they're lacking in resources. Like when we say resources, I mean resources, like in so many ways. They're also they're lacking in emotional intelligence. Remember, we're also 12-year-olds coming to school, coming to high school. Some people are 10, some people are 11. Just imagine when you were 12 and you're going into an environment like a Spanish town where gunshot are ring out, a badness them people say. Like from the first day I went to school, I saw like a man get lick out. Like people were extorting people. People were getting beat up. People are carrying guns come to school. People are smoking spliff. Like the teacher get beat up. Like like somebody just run on upon you and say, yo, give me your money. Like straight up. Like and you're a 12-year. Just imagine a 12-year-old in this environment where and there's times when you felt depressed because the environment itself, it just have a depressive thing. And then the history of the environment, in terms of the historical, it's a pirate place and slavery and all those things. Like you might think those things don't play, but they have a play because there are times when literally I am at school and the place is quiet, right? I don't know if my classmates ever felt this way. This is my own personal experience. So maybe you guys can comment. And the place is quiet. There's no fight or nothing going on. And I just feel like there's some kind of spirit or something. Like I'm like, yo, like there's something over this place. Like I literally feel it. And I will go home and I tell my mom, like, yo, there's something over this place. I literally feel it. And my mom used to be like, yeah, like something just rise up. And really sometimes we'll be there and it's known as a place where anything can erupt, meaning it can be the most quietest place. Like literally you could just be walking and you just hear gunshot start ringing, like for no reason at all. Like literally, like things just start. Like we even in school as well. Like we'll be all sitting down in class, and before I know it, I saw another student just lick another student. And before I know it, there's a fight. Like these are things that you deal with on a day-to-day basis. You will have teachers also. They're going through their own personal issue, and you like the class does them just in a rotten mood, and they just get the teacher out. And the teacher just start cause. Like I've had teachers literally come in front of me and cry, like big woman thing, like them just start ball. Them a ball, tears, like have you ever seen pain? Like every day it's pain, like seeing people in pain literally. Listen sometimes with my classmate, like more while, I was sitting with my classmates and more time you just it's like it's too much. Them have to just tell someone. Them just start tell everybody. Like them just start tell what to them. And you sit down and you'll be like, I can relate it. It's so real. Like, them telling them. And sometimes you just know, say, oh, today, one of your classmates just hungry. Them just raw. So we call it, they're raw. Today, you're hungry. Like, you can't concentrate. Like, I can tell like issues upon issues upon issues. And that's just issues with the human aspect. I don't even start to tell you the issues of the school, you know? Sometimes you don't even have chairs, desks and chairs. There's so many things that you don't have. You're also in the lab. So we're in the science lab, for example, and the things that them have there. I remember one year we literally most of the things weren't working. I think it was only one working, and we are in a class of 30 students. Thank God we weren't at war. Thank God. We learned to share, like literally. It was such also a beautiful sight. I almost made me cry to see all my classmates, or they came together. Like when we all realized that it's just only one working and all 30 we are waiting for the lab. It's like we just see all people were working together and helping each other in their lab work and be like, yo, and teaching each other how to use this and doing that. It's the same thing in the kitchen because I did food and nutrition. And there was a lot of things that in our kitchen we didn't have, and so you have to carry this from your home. And some people, they weren't rich, but they had more than a lot of people, so they could carry like the blender and stuff like that. And so we're all using the same blender. You know what I'm saying? Like we're all using the same spatula, and we're all using things of each other. Thank God that once again we weren't at war as much as how people have known that we're war people and we're always at war. There are times when there are some students who genuinely, and I mean, they're really peaceful. They're really not at war. Like even some of the same war boat pitting them. Like sometimes them no want war. It's just that them just feel miserable. Them feel miserable. Things are going on in them house. Them don't want to go them yard, and things going on. And it's that them just feel like to get it out on somebody. As them say, misery loves company. You know what I mean? So sometimes some people just really just feel like, yo, me just had a turn bad. Me not see no way out. Like I actually had classmates who, not classmate, not my classmate, but I, Timona, your skin glowing and glistening today. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I must admit, I did go to the dentist Saturday. I must admit. It's my third time ever in my life going to the dentist. Um, So I went to the dentist. I think that's probably having a good effect on me. So I'm gonna start going to the dentist now. Yeah. So Kimona, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you're one of my, always supporting. And big up Jacqueline as well. Where are you? Where are you from, Jacqueline? So guys, comment down below. Where you're from, whether in Jamaica, like which parish, which country, whatever. Just comment below. Thank you very much for supporting. So it doesn't matter all comprehensive, because you know why it can't be comprehensive, because you have not fixed the issue at the root. So it doesn't matter to me that you're telling me that you're checking emotional intelligence. How can you check emotional intelligence in a school where we were never taught, we never experienced it? Like, how can we show? So we're already struggling academically, and there's something that I found out, while attending school. Like I remember, especially in food and nutrition class, I had some classmates, and they were hot girls, and they weren't really paying much attention in class, and eventually when they did, people were generally impressed how intelligent they were and how brilliant they were. And deep down, I always knew, because I always told a couple of them, I'm like, why are you so loud? Why are you so brawling all the time? Like I know you're brilliant. Like I know you're a bright girl, you know, because I've heard you sometime have conversations, and people are generally surprised. When these girls started doing their schoolwork, like people were generally surprised. They were getting excellent grades, and that brings to another aspect. So these same students are students that people call dumb, slow, and then when they put their head to it, they're actually very brilliant. And so you start to look back, and you say to yourself, then why are these students deliberately sabotaging themselves? And you know what? They're not necessarily deliberately, it's deliberate, but not deliberate at the same time. Meaning is that they don't come and be like, oh, I'm bright and I'm deliberately not going to do well. I'm not going to do schoolwork. It's a matter of that they come to school and it's just one of those things that you do, but they don't feel no hope. They're hopeless because they're coming from a hopeless place. And so they don't see, you know, anything beyond school. And then on top of that, the media, you hear about joblessness, unemployment, you hear about women crime and violence, and you can't see beyond your situation. There's this show that I watched, and I remember the show where it has to do with some black kids, and I think the teacher decided to carry them to Harvard. And Harvard is considered this prestigious school, and everybody have their own perception how to reach to Harvard and who goes to Harvard, what type of people go to Harvard. And so some people never dreamed that they could go to Harvard because you don't think you're worthy. You don't think you're capable of going to Harvard. And probably you have never had someone tell you that you can go to Harvard, you know? And that's kind of the environment that we're in, especially in my school. Um, you know, it's not something that is commonly where someone comes up to you and be like, wow, you're beautiful. It's a school that, it absorb all of this negative energy. It absorb all this stereotype, and we are stereotype. Trust me, adults themselves have been stereotyped. Like, I've been personally walking on the road. I was walking on the road one time, and this lady saw me, and she just looked at me, and she was like, "Oh, you're not going no further than Spanish Town High." And I looked at her, and I was like, I don't even know. And I was like, whoa, I'm so deeply hurt. I didn't respond at the time because I didn't know, because I was so in shock. And, I was like, and I was telling my classmates, and they're like, yeah, we get that all the time. Like, people, say things like, oh, you're not going further than Spanish Town now. You're so dumb. And I remember one time this other guy, he said, it's a lot of whores, and you all bleach your skin, and all of you gonna have babies and stuff. Like, that's all you guys do at that school. And I was like, my gosh, like, people have such, and these are adults I'm talking about. It's bad when other students say it to you, like from other schools, but it's very terrible when adults say this to you. And I once again, imagine you're a 12-year-old, you're a 16-year-old, you're a 15-year-old, like, you're still not fully developed to grasp some of these things. So you're absorbing what people are saying, and then you have something like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I read that in sociology. If people keep telling you, so if every time somebody sees you and they tell you, "Oh, you're gonna be a gunman, you're gonna be a thief like your father, you're so black and ugly, your school is not good, y'all are dunce, y'all are dumb," after a while, some people internalize that and they become it. If they don't have positive role models in their household, their community, and if they have never been beyond their community, and that's another thing. I was fortunate in a sense that, as terrible as I grew up, and trust me, I grew up terrible, right? I'm in an environment where it's not easy. I've never really to discuss, but I don't have the best of neighbors. I'll probably share, but it's still better than a lot of places because my environment is clean. Most of the people are like working class. Like, I grew up seeing working class people. People are of middle age. I never even used to hear people even curse in decent language where I live. That's how serious it is. Like, and most of the people, they always is like oldies and stuff like. So I didn't grow up like, me really grew like Christian. Like, me grow up Christian in my home, and to me, my community that come like a Christian. To be honest, like, certain things that I was just not exposed to, right? Um, yeah, I was just not exposed to a lot of things, so I wasn't. So when I did go to Spanish Town, it could turn out terrible because, I mean, it doesn't matter, because I know people who grow just like me and them go school and then them come out terrible because them internalize. It's just, but I had my mother. I was fortunate. My mother, you know, she showed interest in me. So when I would come home, she'll be like, like, what you did today, stuff like that. Let me see your book. And so she opened that door for me to be open. And so I could come home to her and show her my book, say, oh, I got, this and whatever. And she would say something to it, or, she would encourage me to read. So if you don't have even one person, like reminding you, right? So as terrible as my experience was, and looking on at the school and what was going on, right? If you can just imagine if I didn't have her and have someone, and I just every single. I remember you spend most of your life at school. So we are at school from, like, school started 7:15. By the way, for Spanish Town, we started school at 7:15. Like, 7:15 is what you're supposed to reach school, I believe. I know we have to reach school very early. Devotion start like mostly 8 o'clock, but you have to reach school like, I think, 7:45 is the least. Me always try to reach school 7:15. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like, me used to open up school. Like, me and the security used to do it by myself. Anyway, so you spend most of your time in school. So you go to school early morning, and our school is a shift system school, which I hate, by the way. Trust me, you can't learn in a shift system. It's ridiculous. There's no way you can learn within 4 hours. It's just unbelievable. That is another aspect to this comprehensive thing. Like, how do you judge students who, learn within 4 hours. More time, like you come school like 8 o'clock and you leave by 12 o'clock. So not even a full 4 hours or 3 hours. Like how do you learn in 3 hours? Then on top of that, you have school will start like from 12. Like I think the days are longer when it's from 12 to 5. Like it's I always seem like the evening, like when we have evening class. So we change school, we change shift every year. So if this year you were on morning shift, by the other school term, you know that you're on evening shift. That's how it works. And I used to wear like yellow shirt, and the other shift wear gray shirt and burgundy. So that was how it operates. And it can be very dangerous. So that's another thing, because you're from 12 to 5, so you meet up with the working class people, and you have to take bus with them, and you motor in at the bus park, and people don't know about the bus park. Bus park always full of extortion. Sitting always like sometimes bus they on strike. It will there for hours. I've been there like in the night, literally. They're at the bus park. My mother always a worry, because where I live, I don't have a straight bus that comes to where I live. So when I come off, I normally walk this long way, and just me not safe. And because it takes me, because the bus that runs in my way anyway, for me to stay at the bus stop just to wait for that bus, it's the worst bus ever. So it might as well me just walk it come on my yard. So I had to do that for 5 years, well technically 6 years, because I did went back one year to help coach the quiz team. Yeah. There are a lot of variables that people don't take into account. These are things that don't normally people discuss. And so when I tell her that the school is unequal in on so many levels, and we don't have much, Spanish Town once was known as a school that did well in football, rugby, and netball. And when you come and see, we feel like they have improved now. Like the school look way much better than all. Obviously, they have grown, and people have donated money and whatever. But the school is lacking so much on so many levels. And so for people to be comparing us and comparing grades and emotional intelligence and whatever, like how do you compare when overall the school just don't equal on no level? It's not a case that we all start the race at the same line, right? We don't start the race at the same line. It's the same thing with black people and white people, and this is why people can't get it. No matter what you want to think about, like black and black crime and why black people this and why black, the truth of the matter is that black people and white people, them don't start on the same line in terms of wealth. Like generational wealth is you're so behind. You're like 400 years behind. How do you compete with 400 years behind? It is just weird. It is just impossible. It's the same thing with the school system. Like, how do you compare a school like a Spanish Town High to a school like a Campion, for example? I went to Campion, as in I've seen their environment, I've seen how the students behave. They walk with so much confidence in their school. Confidence goes a long way. They're so confident. Some of them kind of overconfident, to them cocky still, but I mean, the point is that they are so confident in their abilities. They are so confident in their teachers. They are so confident in their school. They are so proud of their school. There's so much pride that they speak of their school. And that goes a long way. Like, I can just imagine every day they all them get up and be like, oh, I'm so happy to be going to Campion College, for example. Right? I felt that way about my school, because I had a different mindset. But I was just one in few. And there were times when I felt like, geez, I don't feel so confident going to my school. Like, I wonder who's going to fight today. I wonder who's going to die today. Like who would war me today? Like it's just a constant war. It's a constant fight. It's a constant fear. It's not just even the school. It's the environment, because it's one thing, you know, with the school, but there's another thing with the environment itself, like Spanish Town itself. I know it get a bad rap, as I say, but I mean, it's the reality. Like, I'm not gonna pretty it up for anybody. Like, me not pretty it up for nobody. Isn't me? Like if you're from the area, I know I don't like when, like people talk bad. Because even Portmore, for example, I'm from Portmore. I know people think this wonderful thing about Portmore. It's wonderful, true, but you know, so wonderful now. And we just have to. The reality is the reality, and you know, the only time things going to get better is when you speak the truth and you speak how you see it, and when you start to challenge your government. So I hope that when people go to vote, I hope that they are thinking about these things. They are thinking about their children, about in these environments where literally it's like World War IV. Like literally, like I do believe that people leave this school with PTSD. That's how serious I think it is. Because I still have trauma from my school. Like things that I've seen, things that I've experienced, you know, you're just getting over it. And you know, these are things that we don't discuss. That children and yeah, and you got to think about even some of these children. They already have PTSD coming from them home, and then they're in the same environment. Like them go, you know. So you're from Spanish Town, for example, and then you go to Spanish Town High. Like to me, whoa, that's double dose. Like I can just imagine. Like imagine every day is the same thing in out in. You know, like I mean, I remember when I was in grade 11, and a classmate of mine, his brother, who was on the quiz team, and I heard that he died. Like, it really shook me. Like, gunman running in my yard and shoot him, kill him. And this dude was like 14, 15? Like 14, 15. And I was like, and you know what was so funny? It's almost like I saw him yesterday. We had quiz meet training, and we were just joking, you know, because he's such a comedian, the guy, you know, and he's just jovial. He's a very jovial guy, and I'm like, this dude didn't even get to do his sexy. And it's almost like I saw him yesterday, and then today, my ears him dead. Like, it, trust me, if the whole day it shook me, like we just feel numb. Just we as a gunman running in and yard and shoot him, kill him, and I was like, this is the reality. Like people don't talk about these things. Like how many children you know in some of these schools, they're going on thinking about, I wonder if I'm gonna die today. You know, the noise, the gunshot, the oppressiveness, like everything that you can think about, the hunger, the starvation, the hopelessness, the suicide. That's like another topic. Like people not talking about those things. Like people probably wondering why are young people committing suicide more than ever, because we're on a brim, you know, we're overflowing now, and people are sweeping these things under the carpet. And we Jamaicans especially, we use humor to cover our scars. And I think the time has come when humor can no longer be used to cover our scars, because we have reached a boiling point. I think my generation is like the end result of everything that every generation have suffered. Like it's almost like people never think about this, but you know, these things are running in our DNA. And so sometimes people say, oh, you guys are the entitled generation, you're all so soft. I do believe that yes, we're cultured soft, but I also think it's in our DNA that things are affecting us more than ever. I think that you know, it's running in our DNA that we are feeling all these generational curses. We're feeling all these pain, and I think that we have not been given the tools to combat what we're feeling, and these emotions. We're like more confused than ever because there's so much ideology. That's one. There's so much politics in things. There always been politics, but I think there's more politics in everything now, you know. So like recently, for example, this community have been in existence for around like 37 years, and you know, I'm 29, and so I can speak about the history of my community. And we have never had a bus stop or a bus shed, if you want to call it so. And after 37 years, we recently got it, and it came from the PMP government because the PMP rules where I live. Recently, JLP won, and the PMP built the bus shed, and they were on a loudspeaker shouting it as if it was something to be proud of. It's just even one little bus shed. Like it's so my community is It's like an oval shape. Like if you come to Portmore, you'll find that the place is like an oval. It's like a big round place. And so where I live, that's the only bus stop. There's other places like when they go around, there's no bus. Like literally, people get rain, and people get sick all the time. And so they only build one bus stop and don't build an next bus stop. And they think that we're idiots. Like they're celebrating this thing like it's something to be celebrated. And I'm sick and tired of people celebrating the basic. Like these are basic things for humans and basic for your community. Like community is supposed to have good road. They must have proper drainage system. They're supposed to have bus shed. They're supposed to have signs, proper signs, for people to know where to go. Like some things I think are basic, and these things are being used in a political way. And so we have waited 37 years just for a bullshit, and people are behaving like it's the world I'm getting. I'm sorry, we are paying too much taxes for us to be getting the basic. Basic is something we're supposed to get. I'm looking forward to something deeper now. And it's the same thing with the education, like schooling. Like to me, there's some things schools can have that are basic. There's some things that require money, but to me, every school should have a way, like it base or them basically built. Like them supposed to build with some things naturally. And that's how I would feel like every school should be built that way. And so now we could be judging or comparing. But you can't be comparing a school like a Campion to a school like a Spanish Town High. Their facilities are nowhere near it. And the resources nowhere near it. I'm sure nobody's over there using one blender in those schools. But we have to use one blender and still have to do our practical. So when I got my two in food and nutrition, I'm the proudest thing ever because you know why? I know that I had nothing and I had to be creative. That's one of the reasons why I'm so creative. It's not because I'm just naturally creative. It's because of these circumstances. We had to be creative in that school. So I honor those students. It's not that I don't honor students from other schools, and that's not what I'm saying. I don't want people to misinterpret what I'm saying because to me, I honor hard work no matter which school you attend or no matter where you work. Hard work is something that I honor, but I am bringing spotlight that these students they don't have a lot of resources, and so for you to compare them and to say that what they have accomplished is nothing to me it's like whoa, you're even like disrespecting the teachers because these teachers they lack so much resources. They don't even have certain teaching techniques. Like we didn't have, like, for example, like, oh, I can go to UA. And this is why I can even speak about inequality because I went to Spanish Town High and then I went to UA. I had the opportunity to go to higher, you know, learning or tertiary institution, which is I think it's 8% in the Caribbean, by the way. Like going to so I was very honored. And so I can compare and say that when I went to UA, for example, and and still at that time I didn't even have a computer. I had to go to the computer room and I had to sit down because there were other students who don't have computer as well. I recently got a laptop. I've shared the story before. And there's people out there who don't have laptop. One, there's people out there who don't have access to internet service. Them just cannot afford it. We just have to keep it real. Them just cannot afford it. And it's not that their parents are wasting money, it's that people naturally them just cannot afford it. Their job. It's not that they weren't trying at school. It's just that they just got a bad footing in life. Like if you're a family, if you're not coming from a family of certain generational wealth, there's nothing you can do. It's what it is. You have to make do with what you do, what you have, and that's it. And so that's what I'm looking at. That these students, they're coming from an environment with all what I just name, right? And there's things that I've not mentioned, and you can just imagine the things that we went through at that school. And to see us people getting ones, they're doing CXC and they're getting ones, and they're even going to like our UA and those places. And you know what is fun? There's also funny good amount of the students who actually excel at UA. This is actually statistically proven are students who are coming from these low schools. They're coming from the country areas as well. Like a lot of my classmates who came from the country areas, I can tell you, man, They are brilliant. They are bright. Like some of them school, I could not test them. That me I tell you. Like even me, who come from Spanish Town High, I had students who come from Campion, whatever. They had to come to me and be like, "Yo, explain that to me." And I'm not boasting or anything because I had to go to my classmates as well, whatever school. But I was just saying that this going to you, it kind of humble you at a time because it shows you that no matter which school you're coming from, we all need each other, help each other. And it showed that our own perception that you thought somebody from a Spanish town and was a done said, and here they are right now in your class doing the same course as you. They're excelling just like you, or they're struggling just like you. You know what I mean? And so I look on those things and I'll be like, you know, like it's very interesting to me that we lack so many resources and we had to still compete with other students who had more than us, better resources in every way possible. And, and we still end up probably at the same place. And, that's the reality. So I am challenging people today. I am challenging the government that people need to lobby for a better school and better facilities and stop, accepting mediocre. So they recently put up one bus shed after 37 years, and they are behaving like we don't know what them think them give it. They all know lobbying, but Portmore need to be a parish, and I'm like, what they make Portmore need to be a parish? We don't even have a hospital. Like, come on. Like they keep pushing that we need to be this, and I want to know what is the benefit of being a parish because we don't have a hospital. So I don't know what is the purpose of the lobby. I don't know what is the benefit. That's what I want to hear out of this discussion. What are the benefits of becoming a parish? Because I'm looking at other parishes and they are suffering. So, far as me concerned, like we becoming a parish, would it change certain things for us? That's what I want to know. Is it a benefit to the residents? Is it a case that we will now be getting a hospital? Is it a case that since we'll be becoming a parish, that means that we're moving away from being a part of the St. Catherine Council, and as a result, all of the money that we pay with taxes will now be spent in Portmore, and that means that we get better roads? Is it that case? That's what I want to know. Is it a case that, you know, is it that we're going to know of probably one university? I mean, that's a stretch with the university, but a hospital is a much. Like, I don't get it. Like, how can you be a parish and don't have a hospital? And the reasoning is that we need to become a parish first and then them think about hospital. Why is it that we can't demand that the money that you spent, with all this research that they did to become parish, why is it that money can't be spent now to build a hospital, right? They said that they have a climate change park, and them spend. I don't want to misquote, but I have seen the climate change park, and there's no way on earth that they spent that money. I am telling you, there's no way on earth that the amount of money that they said they spent that can be it can't I can't see it. Trust me, if you see it, it's a literal bare dirt, and then put up like I don't see anything where they're like even not even $1 million. Like me not exaggerate. Like people who do building, y'all know. Like I built my mother built their house, so I mean know all of the money we spend on building and stuff like that. And me like come on, y'all guys, better do better, man. Do better. Like y'all fooling the people, and people want to be fooled. Like, come on, people. Like I'm encouraging people. Like election coming up, y'all better start demanding better for yourselves and for your for this generation and the generation after. Like as Black people, I think that we need to rise up and stop taking mediocre and start demand better. You're paying too much taxes. For people who don't know, Jamaica is among some of the countries that are paying a lot of taxes. And you pay premium for mediocre. And I'm not getting the logic why we're paying so much. And people are robbing money left, right, and center. And when it comes down to doing things for us, the people, there's money can never be found. Money can be found for robbery, and people can always find money to steal. but it can never to fix the road properly. And and these are concerns that I have for my country and I have for my people. And I say to people, it's full time we wake up and stop take mediocre and start demand. Like if you're going out, like stop with the politics, man. Like stop voting because you love GLP or PNP. Like we're done with that, man. Like we're done. Like go out there and vote for issues. If you think the government now do a good job, vote them out. If you think your MP now do a good job, vote them out. So my MP, if you're listening right now, may I encourage the people to vote you out right here in South. I don't even know where it is. So, what were we? Southeast? I don't even know. Because I don't even know who my MP. Like I don't remember his name. Like and he talks so much. This guy, he goes and talks so much, and yet he's not doing anything for where I live. And he talks so much. Like I always see him in media and I don't even remember his name. But he always talks so much. Right? I want people to vote him out. He's not doing a good job. I don't know him. He doesn't comes around. From JP have one for my section. I'm not on top of the whole country, but for my section where I live, they have not done anything. PMP also have not done anything, by the way. So I'm not sure why is it that we can't get good representative. I don't know. Um, yeah, we're not getting good representatives. Like none of them have done a good job. Not even the mayor. Like I don't have people praising mayor and even the other mayors before. Like people love praise. I don't even remember his name. He's dead now. Like people love to praise him. Like he did this wonderful job. He didn't do no wonderful job. Like if they all did wonderful job, like Portmore look like when Portmore was built, we almost look like we were like one of those foreign places. If you see Portmore now, and yes, I also blame the people. They're not without fault because to me, your environment is your responsibility. It's just like your home. Like nobody needs to come in your home and tell that you need to clean the bathroom or you need to wash the dishes. Like it's something that you know you're supposed to do. You know you're supposed to clean your bathroom. You know you're supposed to make your bed. You know you're supposed to get up and make your breakfast, and after you're finished, you wash your dishes. Like keeping your environment clean doesn't need to be regulated. I think it's something that should be natural. I don't need government to tell me that. I don't need government to tell me that I need to put garbage in the garbage bin. Like these are simple common sense things. And if I see garbage truck come out 10, if garbage truck not come out 1 year in my little circle, I can tell you that you will not see garbage on because everybody just naturally knows say you get bag and you bag it up. You know what I mean? So to me, that is something that is a mindset, it's a culture thing. Like I don't believe that poverty means that your environment must be unclean because I grew up very poor, but I can always remember. I even joke with my mom like, I know we grew up poor, but one thing we house they always clean. And me have neighbors always tell me that say, one thing on the yard always clean. When you poor but you always clean. And my mother instilled that in me say, no matter how you're poor, but make your environment clean. Your environment dictate how you feel. And so she always make your environment clean. So even when you're hungry and things rough, I could always looking at my yard and say it clean. You know what I mean? So me always feel good about that. And the point that people used to tell me, say, boy, your yard always clean, I feel good. Come here, say, yeah, people know say my yard always clean. And it's something that, my mom instilled in me and my brothers. I have to give her kudos to that because even though my brothers, for example, like, I was talking about gender and stuff like that, them can cook, clean, wash, whatever. Like them nobody can come to them and give them the dirty food or tell them so that clothes are washed. Them know when things wash, them know when place clean, them know when food tastes good from when it not tastes good, stuff like that. Because my mother taught us. So I do agree that you don't need government to tell you that. And to me, you can make your environment be your own Beverly Hills. And it don't take much either. Like people behave like it take much. Like look at paint, look at grass, look at flowers, and just keep the road clean and the place look good. Simply. Even in your zinc fence, I've seen zinc fence place and the place look good because the people just keep them place good and them keep it clean. So I don't, ascribe to prescribe to that. Say if I'm a poor, your place have to look cranny and nasty. I don't believe in that. So, but some part of Portmore you look cranny, I like look cranny. I want to say cranny and nasty. And I'm wondering, why are these people keeping them environment so unclean? Like, them have garbage bin, like, just like how hard it is to throw like one plastic bag in one garbage bin. Like, me don't know, like, me I wonder. Like, me I say my mother really grew me different, because even when me I walk on the road, me will buy all that juice. And you know, so I walk straight home. Like, literally have juice in my hand, empty bottle, I walk straight home and throw it in my garbage bin, or me throw it in one of my neighboring garbage bin or whatever. Like, me I said to myself, like even the school them build a school near where I live. And I went to the school, and when the school they just built, and the most beautiful thing me ever see. Like, the school was very well built, it good, and now it look like a garbage dump. Because the students came and mash up the school. Because them don't have no pride. Them don't have no pride, and them don't respect them environment, and them don't respect place. And them behavior us dirty. And as I said, probably no one taught them. And I can't expect no better from people if that's what you grew up in. Unfortunately, it's not very easy to choose otherwise. You know, you might judge them that people come on them nasty and whatever, but I don't think it's very easy to do, because what's normal to you might be abnormal to somebody else. So for me, I grew up in a clean environment. So anywhere I go, I naturally I look if the place clean. If I'm going to a restaurant and the place unclean, I ain't buying. Like, I'm serious, like, I'm not buying no food. I just want to stay. And it's not that I'm scornful or anything like that. It's just that my stomach also it's very sensitive, because if I eat something right now, even if it never look dirty or whatever, and I eat it, my vomit. Like, if something there's unclean, like, if the process itself is unclean, like there's a way that you was doing the food and something unclean happen, and me don't eat, immediately me not vomit. Like, me can't even help. It's not even like me can't even force it. Like, I remember even going to this place and they were giving up free soup. I'm gonna drink the soup, a manish water, yeah. The soup was so horrible. It tastes bad, it tastes bad. Me try to drink it. And then my mother see me a fight, mother just take it from me. She's like, no bother, come no I vomit, because she know me so well. She's like, you're going to vomit. Like, I mean, no I vomit in front of all of these people. And I'm like, mom, this soup is horrible. Like, man, like, I know it's free, but this is why I don't like free this is because it's always horrible. Like, so I get it. Like, people, you don't need people to tell you to keep your environment clean. It should be something that is natural. So I don't blame government entirely for that. Like, I know people have to blame oh, them don't clean the gully. I'm like, by right, the gully is supposed to have pampers in it. You're not supposed to have the gully by right. The only thing is supposed to have collect leaves. Like, if the environment was clean, the government wouldn't be have to be cleaning the gully like that, because I don't get it. Like, oh, fridge reaching at the gully. Like if you really use logics and really care about the environment and care about people, you tell them the truth that them plain and simple them nasty. There's too much nasty people in Jamaica, and that's a reality. And that's what I see happening in my community, my overall Portmore. It's the place is turning like a garbage dump. I've spoken to the municipal people. Them always say them trying. I've spoken to them about the smoking. Them always lighting garbage, and our community collectors. So I don't burning can't take the burn. Like, we have people who never used to have asthma. All of a sudden have asthma issues because of the constant burning. I don't know what's going on. Somebody can comment below. Like, what's with this burning? Jamaica has become a burning country, and they don't know that they're damaging the ozone layer and causing whole heap of climate change issues. Like, people burning some ridiculous things. I don't know what is them problem. Like I'll just get up. I'll early in the morning. Like, these people don't even care about people. Selfishness is so high. Like, you there all 4 o'clock in the morning. Laying on my bed already. And me almost died in my sleep, like, literally, because me smell it. Thank God I'm a light sleeper. So it's like me smell it and I was grasping. And then I got up and I smell it. And then I went on the roof and I realized massive smoke. Like, even where I live, there's an open land, and the people normally keep it clean and stuff like that. And then I noticed people start throw garbage and them start light. Till one time they have to call the fire truck. Cause the fire get out of control and they could not decide who did it. Because the person could not be found. Like, everybody I said, oh, I saw that person do that, and I'm like, um You see, that's the problem. Like y'all not, policing your community. It's your community. Like, cause me, if me see somebody right now I throw garbage, me say ask them. Me not afraid for ask them. I've been at the bus stop and see I'll pick me pass. I'm see them a throw garbage. I'm say, why did you do that? And then I look upon me strange. I'm say, why did you do take it up? Like, why are you littering? Like that's nasty. Like me not afraid to tell them. Like me said that's not something good. And I talk to them. I like that's not good. Littering the environment. I start literally going on a discussion with them. Like, why it's bad, and they will them see I will tell it. I'm like, so do you think it's something good? And they be like, no. You think you're gonna do it again? And they're like, no. I said, I hope not. I hope you don't do it again because it's not good. Like people need to take back their community. They need to start policing it against crime and violence, against bad behavior, against dumping, against garbage lighting. I think that you are responsible for your community before it gets out of hand. Like people need to do that. People need to unify themselves, get united, and start stand against these things. And that is why the government can treat us the way that they treat us, because we are not in unity. We are divided, and so whatever they do, when they do certain things that are mediocre and you speak up and say, oh, it's mediocre, like for example, that bus stop. It's not that I don't appreciate the bus stop. Yes, I do appreciate bus stop, but it's basic. It's something that you're supposed to get. So I don't see what the praise is about. Like I'm not gonna all of a sudden run the vote just because of that. Like that are not special to me. I'm sorry, like probably my standard too high. But that is not something for vote, but that is something where everybody should have in them community. Like me, if you say everybody should have one bus stop, everybody should have one park where when I say a park, and take one heap of money, you have a park, and you probably make two line and people can run around it, or have look a bench and people just sit down and create that community spirit where a lot of people can go there and sit down, and young people can go there, and we bridge that gap between the generations, because that is why that there is a gap, because most of the time we in our yard, and if we do go outside and we play, the elderly people in them yard, so there's not at any time that we are together. The first time we move here, because we didn't have technology, yes, people were more closer. So I used to go out and because I know most of my the elders in my community, I actually go to them yard and listen to them and whole conversation with them. But that's just me. But majority of young people won't do that. That'll seem like something strange. But if we had parks and we could come together, it's just like even UA. Like did you know that people actually come to UA, especially elderly people, and they come and sit down on the benches? I've met a lot of people who come and sit down, especially retired people. So they would tell you, oh, I was a retired painter, I'm a retired teacher, I'm a retired this. And they struck up a conversation with you sometime because they just really want to talk, about people out there lonely. And I find it very interesting because, and they would tell you, they were like, I come here every day, and I find you relaxing. I just come here to sit down and just watch you guys most time. And I'm like, really? You come here just to sit down? And you might think that's strange, but it's not. It's because it's human. We have a thing for connection, and we have a thing for sharing. It's something that is natural, and the environment has to be created for it to happen. Sometimes it's sometimes very difficult if the environment is not there. So sometimes it might take a task for a young person, especially, right? To just get up and just go to an elderly person or just for the whole reasoning with them. Like it just has seemed like this weird thing. Um, if you're not cultured that way, then it not happen. But I mean, if there's an empty space and there's a park and they are out there and then you go out there to play, then naturally it's a space. So from the spaces there, you don't have to do anything more. Trust me, humans will find a way to interact. That's how it naturally It's just like school, it's just like workplace. You're in the same space. That's how you meet friends. That's how you get to talk to your coworker. There's no two ways about it. And it's not a rocket science. It's just a natural thing that happens. So if the space there, utilize the space. And those are the things that I want. I want to see the space that is there. It turn into a park. They don't have to spend too much money because they always saying that they don't have any money. So I'm not even demanding too much. I'm just saying, fence it round, and put couple benches and put like, you know, some covering and left it. If you have to left it with the concrete just so, may not even ask for too much. And left it that we can just go there and people interact. And so we can bridge that gap between the generation, because I believe a lot of elders are dying out and they're dying with oral traditions. And as a result, I don't know my generation will survive and the generation after, because, you know, you can't survive without oral traditions. There's a lot of things that I do naturally, and why I do it naturally is because I grew up seeing my mother do it. And so I know when I have children, I'm going to do the same, as in, you know, the way that you cook rice and peas, for example, you know, the way that you prepare chicken, the way that you do this or whatever, is because I grew up seeing my mother do it. And because she grew up seeing her granny do it. And so it is passed down. My mother even have pots that are older than me, because she, you know, her granny did have it and her granny carry it. And so, you know, and my mom always say, oh, you know, when you have starved, I'm going to give you this. Like my mom have things that she said she's going to give me, because it's oral tradition. It's you know, it's artifacts and stuff, and they do have a lot of history to them, and there's a lot of things. Even this TikTok guy, you know, he's famous now. This black guy, I don't remember his name. I can't pronounce his name. I think he's from France, and he has this thing that he does this, always doing this, because it's a case where some things that, like, our generation is really being portrayed like we're really dumb. Like some simple things. So, for example, everybody knows that you chop coconut with like a cutlass, for example, right? And people have other ways, but it's more time. It's just require one chop. And I was watching this video where this guy might try use knife, and he might take all of this time. Like, that was literally my expression. I was like, why is he doing all that? Is that necessary? Like some things that people are doing, like, I'm like, where are our common sense? That's one. Two, why are people taking complicated route to do simple things? Like, I don't get it. It's like going through a door, and then I do all of these things instead of just open the door and just go through it. Like, me not get it. Like, me not know. Like, someone have to explain. Is it there? Are they really that stupid, or is it just for jokes? Because I don't really find it funny. I'm thinking, like, to me, comedy, it have like a bit of stupidity, a little bit of stereotype, and a little bit of truth in it. Like, me not say stupidity to be funny. Like, no, like me might laugh over some stupidity, but me can't really too sit down too long and watch stupidity. Like it just too stupid. Like things are basic to me. Me just can't see. Like me not get the deal. Like why so much people. Uh, like is it a case that literally my generation is unable, like they don't know to do certain things, like them really don't know to boil one egg, like me really start wondering myself, is it that serious? That I think it's that serious, because you know when I meet man and they be like, "Yo, so can you cook?" and I tell them what I can cook, they look like they're in amazement. Like things, like some basic things, they're like in amazement, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Like the human race, have dropped so low that things that are basic are being praised. It's almost like when it's Father's Day. Every day it's Father's Day in Jamaica. Every year, I should say, every year when it's Father's Day in Jamaica, and one man do something when he's supposed to do basic, G's and P is the highest praise. Highest praise. Highest praise. So something so basic. Oh, you know, he just took his little girl to school. I'm like, okay. So, and I get it. We all know the history behind that. But I'm just saying that we have dropped so low that something as basic is getting the highest praise. Mediocre is getting the highest praise. And I'm saying that we need to elevate ourselves above that and stop praising basic. You know what I mean? Like, we need to get at a higher level. And also, we need to bring the tools to get to that level. You know what I mean? So I was speaking about my school, for example. They can rank all they want. The ranking mean nothing to me because I've been to Spanish Town High, and so I know the conditions. I know what I've been through. I know what the school is going through. I've also been got the opportunity to be to UWI and see that it has better facilities. Um, it has better a lot of things that are better. And so I'm not saying you won't struggle there, I'm not disputing that, because struggle, a struggle. So you struggle with me struggle as me struggle. Trust me, struggle with the schoolwork, struggle with different things. But in terms of, if it was to be compared with another university, I do believe, and then again, at the same time, I don't even think it can be compared, because you will do get more funding than other universities. This is a fact of life. Because you, and why people don't get that is because UWE is considered a research university, and every research university around the world get more funding than other universities that are more, what should I say, like a UTech, who deal with more hands-on. But that's how it is. It's not even about you itself. It's a thing that happened, because what happens is that the UWE, their research, or any other university that research, it's their research that people use. So it go hand in hand with other universities. So you first have to do research on something before you do practical. So the theory and the practical have to go hand in hand. Most of the time, it's because of research. For example, the same vaccine, like people actually did a research, then they went and made a vaccine. It could be a case that people, I don't think it would make sense that you're supposed to just make a vaccine without doing research. I don't think that can ever happen. That just don't make no sense, because you have to have some kind of data to work with to know what to do, and that's how it operates. So these universities always get more funding. People might think it unfair. Maybe next time I discuss whether it's unfair. But the thing is, I think that it can be compared based on facilities to an extent, and because both institution, for example, them have bright pitney. So it's not a case that one have more bright pitney. It could be a case, but I wouldn't across the board. It's not the same with high school. High school, you all know that you need certain average to go to certain school. So if a school, for example, you need 50 to go to a school, but other school you need 90. Like compare 50 to 90. Like how may I compare them the level of academic intelligence? You might say, well, it don't really ring true, you don't really judge you, because I went to Spanish Town I, and I do think that my academic intelligence is like anybody else. I mean, this has been proven. I went to UL just like anybody else, get my degree just like anybody else. But um, it to me, in the realm of the discussion, it does dictate. Unfortunately, it does dictate, and that's just the reality. And so for people to be praising, oh, my school get number one, I'm not bad minding you all. I'm just giving you the reality that the ranking can never be equal, because it's not on equal grounds. We didn't get the same starting lineup. And so you are way ahead. And I haven't even touched on, for example, the funding for some of these schools. There are old boys association or old girls association. Everybody knows that some schools have more funding than others. Like if you go to like a JC, for example, or one of them school, them old boys association is top notch versus my school. Like it would be awesome if I got rich tomorrow. Like if I have like millions of dollars and well known as an author, then I could be giving back more to my school. But unfortunately, we don't really have nobody like that. To say, yeah, I mean, people do give back, by the way, but I mean, it's not on the level like that. To say, nobody had, like, for example, JC, for example, them renovated, I think, them science lab, and it's one of the most high tech um lab in a Jamaica. They are also known for their robotics and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it's them have a superstar basketball player used to come from them school, stuff like that. Them have superstar people. Like when I say superstar, me I talk famous people. Me I talk about just famous in Jamaica. Me I talk about famous worldwide. People that drop all $1 million and drop them and drop some serious money. So I mean that in itself is an aspect. There's so many variables. So for us to compare schools, no matter how them do it, or no, the comprehensive way them do to me, yeah, to me it don't make a difference. So give thanks, Errol Bean. Thanks for tuning in. Brown Lord, pick up yourself. Kimona Shaw, Colbert Hutchinson, Elizabeth Roberts, thanks for tuning in. Rupert Lewis, big up yourself. Shanae, big up yourself, my classmate. Right? Big up everybody who's tuning in. Dobrege was the first to tune in. Did I miss anyone? If I miss you, I'm sorry. I hope you enjoyed the discussion today. Thanks for tuning in. So welcome back to the Verandah Conversations. And it's every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Jamaican time. I don't know what time that is in your country, so you have to figure that out. And I do appreciate everyone who have supported me on my journey. And support can come in various ways, whether it be, following like this show, or liking my posts, or sharing my posts, or buying a book, or when I ask for the vote, I don't answer no, But yeah, we need you guys. Or sometimes I post things, you can share it in the sense that, like, if I post something educational for someone else, because my page is not just about me. I think you guys figured that out already. I'm always posting people's success story. So from people have something to me, I'm gonna share it. Um, you know, so that's just it for me. Like, my page is just for sharing positive vibes. That's what I'm about. Sharing upliftment and, positive things about my country. I just did a rant and probably so negative, but I was just speaking the truth. So I will speak the truth, and I also will pick up people who are doing well, because I think that they need to be highlighted, not just the bad, right? And yeah, I'm not sure what else to say. I don't have anything written down. So all of this that I just spoke out of my head. So I have nothing written down. But, give thanks for everybody. I hope you guys have a God bless day. I hope you have a safe day, and I hope that you keep healthy and fit. I recommend, you drink up your water, your food, and, I only can just encourage people in a healthy and positive way. That's what I can encourage. So, oh, I forgot. So, as you know, you're following, everybody's supposed to be following my page. So I'm part of this anthology, 100 plus voices for Miss Lou. If you don't know who Miss Lou is, go and research her on your own. Miss Lou is very iconic, and I was honored that I sent in my poem, and me always across Jamaica. So me sending things and me always not get accepted in things. Such is life. And so me don't know if me really enthusiastic. Like, I just sent in anyways. And I sent in, and my poem Matches Shoes Box, which is a true story, was accepted. And I was like, huh? Whoa. Yeah, it was accepted, and I'm so grateful to the UE Press. I'm so grateful to, everybody who is involved, and, other poets are involved. It's not a poetry book, by the way. It's a book that is filled with interviews. It have essays, and, what I mean, be a superstar in the book, me not lie. Be a superstar. Yes, all of the superstar people I can think of them in the book. Yes, from Oliver Samuels, Mutawa Ruka, Cherry Natural, Patterson, Juliet Olness. Who else? The amount of superstar people in the book, I can't even keep up. Kai Miller, all kind of people from all walks of life. Caroline Cooper, everybody. So it's poetry, it's short story. So it's a very complete book. So it's basically people who know our personal, so they write them experience. There's even like topics of discussion. Cause you know that Miss Lowe was a poet and folklorist who used humor in her work to discuss serious topics. Yeah. So some of the things that we should discuss are serious topics, so they kind of put it in a like a essay format where people are actually a challenge them thing there. I don't get the book yet. I'm supposed to get my copy, but I've also bought a copy. It's very expensive, I'm not gonna lie. But them have like a code, so you can get it at cheaper price. If you're really interested, you can, message me. I'm gonna tell you the code, right? The code that we get. It the deadline is January 31st for that code. So you can buy it after, but you want to get the percentage off. So if you're interested, you can always message me at a little code that you can get that percentage off. Yeah, so support. You can tell a friend, share it. And yeah, I was honored to be in that book. I'm very honored, to be honest. And yeah, that's it. So guys, walk good and be safe. And next time we talk again. So see you next week. God's willing. Tuesday at 11 a.m. on the Verandah Conversations right here on my wall. Have a safe day.